Mic check, mic check, mic check.
Ate your tongue.
Mic check, mic check.
Okay,
Mic check on a 1, 2, on the way to third.
You
Mic
already
check,
know.
like I
You
said,
don't wanna
mic
miss
check.
this.
You can't miss it. Mic check, 1, 2 on the way to third. It's fly, taking off like birds.
Okay.
How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all
Hello.
doing? Welcome back.
Welcome back.
It's
If
been a
you
while.
don't know who we are, our names are Ria and Carla, and this is a podcast from a very long time due.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is episode number 51. And before we jump into all of that,
No, 52.
51. Definitely 51. This is episode number 51, and we are Corny Convos. Let's get to it. So, jumping right into it, if you are, what's the word I'm looking for? If you have been following with us this journey for a little while, and you are curious about a few things, sometimes we've had a couple of name changes, but I think we got it right this time. Don't you agree?
I hope so.
Yeah, I definitely believe we do. But we want to jump right into this particular topic, and this particular topic is very important because right now a lot of people are suffering from it. And I think I found the remedy to how to get rid of negative thoughts.
What is that?
It's very simple. But before we can get rid of negative thoughts, we have to first and foremost understand how delicate the mind really is. And I think we have not come to realization that the mind is very beautiful and very powerful and very complex, and we don't appreciate it just yet. But the first step towards having a nice and peaceful mind is to realize and understand that it's exactly every one of those things that I just mentioned. You feel what I'm saying? Say anything that you want to say before we jump into this topic?
No, go ahead. Please educate me.
So are there anything in particular that you have been struggling with?
I think that one of the main things is to stay hopeful consistently and remain patient,
Absolutely.
because it's something that no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're dealing with, no matter if it's, the pandemic that's scaring you, you have to be hopeful and you have to remain patient. And then, then comes joy.
Absolutely.
And so it's one of the things that I feel like a lot of us are struggling with right now.
And you want to know one of the best things that we could do at this particular time? A lot of people are mentioning the pandemic. A lot of people are mentioning so many different things.
Yeah,
And
whether it be sicknesses.
those are
whether it
all
be-
scapegoats.
Mhm.
And the complexity of the mind is so beautiful and powerful. And the first thing, for example, if I was to tell you don't think about a red car, what would you do?
Think about a red car.
Absolutely. So if I tell you don't think about negative thoughts, what will you do?
Think about negative thoughts.
Exactly. So what you have to do is to begin to appreciate the mind first. Don't insult the mind. And if you're insulting the mind if you tell it not to think about whatever it is that you just said don't think about. So
Like I'm still thinking about that red car.
absolutely. And if I tell you to stop thinking about something negative and think about something positive,
It's not going to happen.
it's not going to happen, because the emotional chemicals are going to eradicate the thought process. And by no means, I'm no person, no psychologist or anything of that nature, but if you just break it down, it's completely common sense. And first and foremost, we have to begin to respect the makeup of the mind or the brain or the thought process or however you want to do it or whatever you want to call it. But first and foremost, we need to approach it with not necessarily, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to meditate on something positive. We're not supposed to be prisoners in our own body. So if you're trying to force yourself to think positive, therefore now you're working for your mind. So what we have to begin to do is to realize that our mind works for us. And when we take on that process, this is coming from an individual that has been healed from issues in the mind. Mental disorder shouldn't be a disorder. It's a disorder because if we just look at the word, some disorders we can't necessarily deal with. Some people are born with certain mental disorders. But when I mean disorders such as anxiety, depression, Those are things that we bring upon ourselves. No one is born depressed. No one is born anxious. And this is coming from a person that has overcame both of them. So what I had to do was completely alter the way I approached the situation. I couldn't sit down in my closet or sit down on a mat and just say, hey, I'm going to think about something positive. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen. Because now I'm working my mind so hard to overcompensate for the negative thoughts or the negative energy or the negative chemical imbalances that I'm releasing into my own body. So finally, when I can be away from thinking positive, it's a rush of negative coming right back because I had to work so hard to think positively. Now, the moment I get off my guard, boom, negativity hit me in all ways, all forms, and different angles, and it makes the situation even worse. So how we can approach the situation is to simply, when you're meditating or when you're trying to release your mind or alleviate your mind from certain things, only thing that you simply have to do is focus on something that your body is doing. Like, for example, don't necessarily think about the thinking. It's inevitable. The mind is the thoughts are like clouds. They're going to pass. They're going to come in all different shapes, forms, and you just have to appreciate them for what they are until you begin to see the clouds that you like. But the first thing that we can do is simply, like if you're meditating, for example, take account of your thoughts. Take account of your breathing. Take account of your heartbeat. Focus more so. You're not necessarily occupying your mind or distracting yourself. You're actually just focusing on being alive.
So basically treat your mind as a sixth sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, well, a seventh sense, so to speak. Yeah, sixth sense. A sixth sense. Sixth sense. Yes, absolutely. Because you think about it, we have become so accustomed to, I hate my body. I want to change it. I hate my mind. I'm depressed. That's not how it works. Your mind and your body works for you. You don't work for your body or your mind. Your mind has convinced you to go save up all your money or get loans and debts to go get some type of body altering thing. That's not how it works. We're not supposed to necessarily be convinced to want to change our outer appearance. How dare we allow the negative thoughts in our mind to convince us to necessarily change our negative and positive thoughts? So what we have to do is simply focus on something a lot more positive, and that's life.
Or
itself.
Not even positive, but more so like focus on, like you said, don't focus on your thoughts. Focus on what's around you. Focus on your surroundings. Focus on your body.
I mean, I wouldn't say focus on what's around you because you might be surrounded with negativity. How about everybody just needs to focus on what's in them? And that's the hardest thing to do when you're thinking like, okay, I'm going to focus on what's inside of me. Isn't the body made up of so much more than just the mind and the body? I mean, in the brain, there are so many different organs that you can focus and think upon. Look, there is nothing that you like about yourself.
I think that's why one of the things that you hear when people are meditating, specifically in yoga, we hear, thank you mind, thank you heart.
That's not even necessarily yoga. That's being grateful. Yeah. So I don't want to even say any type of religion, any type of practice. That's the misconception. So therefore it puts you in this group. So if you're saying, so like you just said, yoga. So now you're thinking like, okay, I'm not a yogi, so I can't be thankful for my mind, or I can't be thankful for anything internally. It's not necessarily a group or a practice or religion or a tradition or anything.
No, but I said when we think of yoga, that's normally what we think of.
So therefore we should say what we think of life, you know? We're not talking about this enough to where depression is not something that a doctor can heal. So we have to realize that depression is something that we can heal, something that we can fix. So we don't necessarily have to go to a physician for them to give us this, okay, yeah, you're depressed. I mean, what is allowing you to know that I'm depressed? How are you, what are you taking blood from me? Like, how can you tell me that I'm depressed based on a survey that you give me? So what that tells me is it's simply all in the mind.
just body language,
I mean,
how you're talking, what you're saying.
No, life can't be that bad when life can be bad, but what you can do, you begin to focus on what is good. And to sum it all up, you just have to get to a point to where you're like, you know what? Yes, my mind might be in a mess or an array, but I'm thankful for life itself. And some people might say, well, Rhea, I don't have anything to be thankful for. Well, that's up to you to shift the trajectory of your mind to say, in actuality, I have so much to be thankful for. And because tomorrow can change for you.
Yeah.
But don't take yourself out of the race.
I heard someone say recently, I don't know what self-love is. I don't know how to self-love. And one of the things that we also do is we beat ourselves up so much that we cause our own depression and anxiety.
Yes.
And
because no one's born with depression.
When I heard that recently, it's a little sad because you're thinking, how aren't you grateful for being able to walk from place A to place B?
I'm telling you.
Aren't you grateful
Absolutely.
for being able to have two hands when somebody
Absolutely.
has one?
Absolutely.
Aren't you grateful for being able to see with two eyes instead of one or not at all?
Absolutely.
Aren't you grateful?
So therefore, you can't tell me that
self-love is pretty much gratefulness.
Self-love is
for
not
yourself and for what you have been born with and you have been gifted.
Self-love is not this hypocrisy that the internet is portraying.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. I love my body.
It's
just
not
the way
exposing
that it is.
yourself in nearly nudity. It's not. No, that's not self-love. In actuality, that's the opposite of self-love because you want affirmation from someone else. You want someone else to say, "Hey, you look good," only for you to say, "Stop looking at me." It doesn't make sense. Self-love is actually being able to be entirely covered up and appreciating what you have under you because you know that it's a gift. You know that it is precious. That
you don't
have
to prove.
You don't
have
to prove it. Prove it to yourself, not by. It's wintertime. Everybody should be having on turtlenecks and sweaters, but yet I can guarantee you it's somebody in a bikini right now taking pictures. That's not acceptable. It's to the point now.
To hop into a hot tub.
Hot tub, it is just like just get in a hot tub. We don't want to see a picture. Or matter of fact, just take a picture of the hot tub. Let us enjoy the hot tub. I want to meditate on the hot tub and the scenery that you have, not you. Get out the way. You know what I'm saying? It's just, as a young man, it's to the point where, okay, like it's just frustrating to see that it's like we don't care about that. There are some people in the world that, they might want to see you flaunt your body around all the time. But
that's called something.
Yeah, but that's not me. I actually want to see the scenery. And it just made me stay away from the internet entirely, social media entirely, because it's this hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Well, this is
self-love. About 2 years.
This is self-love. This is not self-love. You are seeking affirmation.
You don't have to prove to anybody that you are worth self-loving yourself.
Look here, man. Yeah.
My definition of self-love is actually loving, because when I know when I am not loving my body correctly because I'm feeding it junk and I'm feeding it things that my body's not going to benefit from. So to me, self-love isn't necessarily saying, oh, I love my thighs the way they are, I love my body the way that it is, but on the contrary, saying, oh, I love my body so much the way that it is now that I'm going to continue to feed it the energy that it needs, whether it be physically, whether it be mentally, whether it be spiritually. I think that I love myself so much that I want to continue to give it the greens that it needs in order to provide that energy that I need for throughout the day, that I need to give it the protein that it needs in order for me to be where I am and be able to do the things that I do,
And that's how you just tackled it on the physical level. There's only two suffering you can physically feel. There are only two sufferings. It is the physical suffering and the mental suffering. It's not an emotional. It's not a financial. All of those are stemmed from the two. There are only two. And what's going on? Everyone is complicating every single thing.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as I'm emotionally suffering. No, you're not. You're mentally suffering, which is causing which your mind is involving your emotions. And you can't say, well, I'm financially suffering. No, you're not. You are not acting responsibly physically, which in essence can produce financial suffering because look, bro, you just got bad spending habits.
Yeah.
That's all it is. You're not financial. No, you're just not
you
prioritizing.
Just have to prioritize, right? Prioritize.
So with that being said, man, what we have to do is be here for each other and simplify it. You know, I'm at this point now, it's time to just get rid of anxiety, get rid of depression, and first and foremost, take a step back from whatever vice that you're using, whether it be mentally or whether it be physically. It's time for us to get back and spend time with ourselves. The
raw us.
Social media should not be as prevalent as it is, but it just goes to show that everyone right now is truly distracted. Everyone. That's why we are so entwined and entertained by a complete stranger. How can and I can't fathom why we are taking pictures for thousands or sometimes millions of strangers. Why? Because we desire that affirmation. We want to feel like we are something. And no, man, it's time for us to detach. In this country right now, that's a pandemic. No, that's an epidemic. The ability the desire to be known or to feel love has, it's just like, I don't have to be loved by my spouse, or I don't have to be loved. I got my Facebook friends. I got my Twitter followers. I got my Instagram followers, or whatever social media that you're using. I'm not demonizing social media, but what I am demonizing is the fact that it is tearing us apart from one another physically, and it's also causing.
And even in
plastic surgery, is at its all-time highest. It can't be that much self-hate in this world. You know what I'm saying? And for some people, they actually need to undergo plastic surgery because unfortunately they might have experienced a
horrible accident
or burns or whatever the case may be, or maybe
a disfigure from birth.
Exactly. Those are
is causing
acceptable.
Complications.
But for these physicians to be taking advantage of people's insecurities in this country, it's at an all-time high.
Yeah. Are your thighs causing you complications?
Oh, man. If they cause you complication, get on the treadmill, man.
Is your stomach causing you complications?
Change your diet, man.
Is your upper body causing you any complication?
You got to love yourself. And just because you transform your body on the physically, you're still suffering mentally.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
that person that you're changing your outside, but you're still the same person in the inside. And that's the most unfortunate thing. Hopefully, you would wish that these physicians would be able to heal the inside and then you will begin to love the outside. But you can't. That's like me changing the outside of a banana peel because it's completely black and brown. Oh, no, that's cool. We just going to cut this banana peel off and we're going to put a new yellow banana peel on top of it. But, bro, this banana peel is completely
moldy and old.
This banana is molded, old, rotten, squishy, but it got a new peel on it. Now it's being deceptive, and it's not okay. And what we have to do is completely transform the way we think. And how do we do that? To get rid of negative thoughts. You are enough. You are good enough. You are perfectly made. And most importantly,
you are worth it.
You are worth it. And that's it. Just so to sum this entire EP up, this Welcome Back EP up, is to simply just focus on you're still here, man. I think we need to get more in love with life.
And I know that's super cliche to say, like, well, I'm still here. And a lot of people say it, well, I'm still here. But they feel as if being still here is kind of torture, You know
why? Because their mind is in control of them versus our minds are supposed to work for us. Our minds are tools.
Yeah.
These bodies are tools. How can we forget about all these beautiful other organisms that...
And that's why they call it 1% people.
Think about the heart. Can we forget? Is so many organisms that make up this body that we need to give attention to as well. how the mind is helping deteriorate the heart and the liver and the kidney and the intestines and the your bloodstream. How about we turn all the organisms against the mind to tell in essence to pretty much mean like, look here, mind, all of us matter. You know what I mean? So you either with us or you with us, because you've been against us for a long time. And it's time for you to get on our side. Man, our bodies are not prisons. And we have to look at it, we have to approach it, and we have to think about it just as such. Our bodies are not prisons. So to sum up this EP, just simply try this. Meditate on being here, you know? I'm not telling you, well, don't think about anything negative. No, that's not what I'm telling you. I'm encouraging you to,
because it's going to be hard to begin with.
And even if you do it for a while,
it's still hard.
It's still hard because you have to stay on your game. You have to stay in that mindset. In the moment you slip, what's going to happen? The mind does not have brakes. The mind only has gas. So the moment you get off your guard, all of those negative thoughts are going to hit you at one time, full fledged, and it's going to be overwhelming. And that's what we don't want. That's where anxiety attacks come from, because everything can get overwhelming. So I'm challenging everyone, including UK Money, to simply I'm not going to tell you to think about anything positive or anything negative, because thoughts are simply clouds. They'll pass through. I want you to focus more so on what you do have. And in essence, just a level of gratitude. I want everyone to display a level of gratitude. Challenge yourself for the remainder of this year. We're hearing a pandemic. I can't go nowhere. Everything is what we can't do. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. How about we shift our focus and our perspective on, hey, I can do this now. I can do this now. I can do this now. And that's it. Let's begin to think more like that.
You know that cabinet that I want to fix for years?
I can do that now. You know? I can do this now. I can do this now. And that's the mindset that we have to have. And then I have time to get to that book that I purchased in 2013 and I never got around to it. I can do this now.
And it's okay. It's okay, because I know we have books are laying around that we haven't touched since we purchased them, because we said, oh, well, one day we're going to have time to do it. But we never really got around to it because we've been so distracted with the world and, life goes on. But now we have this time to sit down in our homes and spend time with our families and our loved ones. And, it's not just to sit down at home and make TikToks. It's to be home, and
it's a time and a place for everything.
Search for your talents and your gifts, because you are given gifts, and
everyone
you do
is
have
given a gift.
Talents, and you just
figure
might
it
not
out.
know them yet.
And only way that you can figure out your gifts is to truly be able to spend time with yourself. And that's all that we have for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this.
Be raw.
Stay
corny. Spread hope.
Absolutely.
That's our new thing.
And sometimes you just have to get to the nitty gritty. We are.
Yeah. Rhea might have sounded a bit frustrated.
No, not frustrated. More so passionate. And that's it. I'm not apologizing for being passionate about wanting to see people thrive.
Overcome.
Because I'm speaking on these things because I've been depressed. I've been anxious. God knows what thoughts that came across my mind. And I don't want anyone to go through anything that I went through. And I'm here. No physician can help you. No pills can help you.
Yeah.
That's not what helps you. Only you can help you. And with these different things and tactics that I was fortunately able to use firsthand, I'm speaking from firsthand, that I'm sharing this out of love, and I want you guys to succeed. A physician might have never been depressed. A physician might have never been anxious. Everyone, depression and anxiety is not the same, and they're prescribing everyone the exact same thing. There is no medication in a form of pill or liquid that can heal you. You cannot talk to a psychologist across the room that's probably doodling while you're talking and thinking you're just an entitled little brat, because they never went through anything. And
if you need some motivational words or some encouragement, reach out for your Bible, because I hate to break it to you, but everything that is out here in the world has already been said, and it's all in the Bible.
And use the Bible. You don't have to look at the Bible in this I have to be perfect in order to read the Bible. What led us to read the Bible is simply curiosity. So therefore, read it as a book. Don't go in there, even if you think it's fictional, go in there as a child when you would read the Hardy Brothers or different types of books. Who knows?
You might be motivated. You might be uplifted.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, it's such a beautiful book.
If you're reading it as or looking at it as this fictional or it's fake or it's not real, that's perfectly fine. I can guarantee we read lots of stories such as Harry Potter that were fake and fictional, but we put ourselves in that place and predicament.
Yeah.
So use the Bible as such. Even if you don't believe it's real, that's perfectly fine. But still give it a try, because there are enlightening words that can help you get through certain situations.
Yeah.
And
because that's
all what it's about.
That people are going to tell you, because when you're dealing with depression, anxiety, it's kind of hard to motivate somebody.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to motivate somebody if you have not read the most encouraging piece of literature that there is.
So therefore, with that being said, man, you have to, so I'm actually excited because after this podcast, I know people will be motivated and encouraged, because people are not really talking about this. Everyone, it's like the taboo. It's pretty much the elephant in the room that no one wants to acknowledge.
Really wants to talk about.
It's not about,
or say, hey, I'm dealing with it.
No, I'm telling you.
Or hey, I need help.
I'm telling you. I wish I heard something like this. So it's always the thing about the internet. If you don't see anything like this, then be the one that produces it. And like I said, fortunately, God knows the thoughts that came across my head. That wasn't my thoughts. And that's the beautiful thing. So we're going to talk about something very deep on the next EP. So stay tuned.
So thank you for letting us be a process to your healing.
Absolutely. So be great. I'm Real. Sitting next to me is K Money. And this is Corny Combos. And absolutely, it's going to get a whole lot cornier. So hopefully you have a great day. That's all that we have.
We out!